I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Ha Rakah Kodash. Double honors unto our apostle elders, which rule Great Millstone Well, and Shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure unto the end. Shalom Wa Abab Abal. All right. So it says in 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 11, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, because we've been, professing the judgment of America, which is Babylon the Great, who are to be destroyed by nuclear fire. What manner of persons, being Israelites, ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? So that holy conversation and godliness pertains to these scriptures. Looking for and hastening, speedily studying unto the coming of the day of our power, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat, the nuclear destruction. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, meaning we understand, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. Wherefore, beloved, seeing that we look for such things, be diligent that ye may be found of him in peace, without spot, and blameless, and account that the long suffering of our Lord Yahweh Shai is salvation. All right, so our Savior is Yahweh Shai, and we are saved through Yahweh Shai's deeds, not our own. All right, our righteousness is not our own. It's of Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. All right, it says, even as our beloved brother Paul, also according to the wisdom given unto him, hath written unto you, which we have epistles of Apostle Paul, writing of the salvation in Yahweh Shai. All right. So I just wanted to touch on this because it says to avoid vain babbling. And right now in the last days, vain babbling would be financial success. All right. Which is 1 Timothy, I believe it's 4:16. No. 2 Timothy 4, verse 16. No, let me see. It was 1 Timothy 2, verse 16. 2 Timothy 2:16. Yeah, this is it right here. It says in verse 15, study to show thyself approved unto our power, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, a workman that needed not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth, which is more important than becoming financially independent. But shun profane and vain babbling, for they will increase unto more ungodliness. All right. And one of these things are the love of money. Being men, we want enough ability to take care of ourselves, take care of our families, have money to do things in this world, but we're not allowed these things because we're persecuted following in this truth of Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai. And it's part of the truth. All right. You wonder why you can't get a place. You wonder why you keep losing your job. You wonder why you can't get a girl. All right. Or your kids are taken from you. All right. It's because we're in this truth. And the world hates us because it hated our master first. All right. It says, but shun profane and vain babblings. Let's go into those words. Profane and vain. Worthless. All right, profane, which is babblios, which it goes to profane, ungodly speech. All right, which it goes into babble, which is confusion. It says heathenish, wicked. All right, and what does it say about the heathen? It says that they worry about what they're gonna eat and drink and wear. I'll tell you that in Matthew 6. And 32, it says, "For after all these things do the Gentiles seek. For your heavenly Father knoweth that ye have need of all these things." So the heathens seek food, clothing, housing. They're worried about these earthly matters, but really we're supposed to worry about the kingdom of heaven. It says in verse 33, "But seek ye first the kingdom of our power, Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai, which is with his elect men, and his righteousness, which is not of our own, but his. And all these things shall be added unto you. Take therefore no thought for the morrow, for the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself. Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof." All right, so doing the best you could in serving the Lord today is all you should be worried about. All right, the Lord's going to feed you, give you water, give you clothing, and allow you to have a place to rest your head, though it may not be your own place. All right, but we are guaranteed a reward at the end of this. All right, now vain means without value, like trying to get empty discussion of vain and useless matters. Like trying to become rich in this fucking world. All right, it says fruitless discussion. All right, let's go into the lexicon. It just says vain and useless matters, babbling. All right, talking about pretty much worldly matters. Now I'm going to show you what the apostles went through. All right, so now let's go down and we'll start at verse 8. It says, "Now ye are full, now ye are rich, ye have reigned as kings without us, and I would to our power ye did reign, that we also might reign with you. For I think that our power hath set forth us the apostles last, as it were appointed to death. For we are made a spectacle unto the world, and to the angels, and to men. We are fools for Hamashiach's sake, but ye are wise in Hamashiach. We are weak, but ye are strong. Ye are honorable, but we are despised. Even unto this present hour we both hunger and thirst, and are naked, and are buffeted," which means to be beaten, "and have no certain dwelling place." So let me go ahead and get the NLT. It says, "Even now we go hungry and thirsty, and we don't have enough clothes to keep warm. We are often beaten and have no home." And that's the truth. All right. This truth is really the world hates us and rejects us. So we pretty much get the bad end of the stick, as they say, the ugly end of the stick. All right. It says, "And labor working with our own hands, being reviled. We bless being persecuted, we suffer it. Now I'm going to go to the NLT. It says, we work wearily with our own hands to earn our living, when really they should be taken care of, the apostles, right? The men of the Lord are supposed to be taken care of, right? But the Israelites are failing right now to do that, all right? It says, we work wearily with our own hands to earn our living. We bless those who curse us. We are patient with those who abuse us. Right? It says in verse 13, being defamed, we entreat. We are made as the filth of the world. We are made as the filth of the world, and are the offscouring of all things unto this day. Go to the NLT. It says, we appeal gently when evil things are said about us, yet we are treated like the world's garbage, like everybody's trash right up to the present moment. All right? So that's how you got to understand we're going to be treated in this world. All right? You're not going to be able to get rich. You're not sometimes going to be able to have your own place, maybe not even your own car. All right? You're not going to have money all the time. You're not going to have your woman. You know, even if you have a woman, it's not always going to be, sweet. You know, for the lack of words, be sweet. You know, a lot of this shit is going to be rough. All right? And that's why those vain babblings that just lead to more ungodliness. All right? Really, are we here to be rich? No, we're not. Are we here to be poor? Yes, we are. Are we here to be loved? No. Are we here to be hated? Yes, we are. All right? So understanding this allows you to overcome. All right? Just like the apostles in the past. It says in Philippians 4, verse 12, it says, I know both how to be abased and I know how to abound, which this is Apostle Paul. It says, everywhere and in all things I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. I can do all things through Hamashiach, which strengthened me. Now look at that in the NLT. It says, I know how to live on almost nothing, right? You have no money, eating maybe rice and beans, right? If you're lucky, it says, or with everything, right? Sometimes you got money and you could eat a steak or have a woman, or have a car or have a place. But remember, it's not forever and it's not for every brother, all right? It says, I have learned the secret of living in every situation, whether it is with a full stomach or empty, with plenty or with little, right? I can do all things through Hamashiach, which strengthens me. Now, let me go back to that. I wanted to cross-reference this verse. Cross-reference. All right. How to be abased. It says in Second Corinthians 6, verse 4, in all things approving ourselves as the ministers of all power, in much patience, in afflictions, in necessities, in distress. It says, verse 5, in stripes, meaning being beaten, imprisonments, in tumults, in labors, in watchings, in fastings. Verse 6, by pureness, by knowledge, by long suffering, by kindness, by the Holy Spirit, by loved unfeigned. Let's define that.
unfeigned.
Unfeigned. It says genuine, sincere. All right. So by love that is genuine and sincere. It says in verse 7, by the word of truth, by the power of our power, by the power of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai, by the armor of righteousness on the right hand and on the left. Verse 8, by honor and dishonor, by evil report and good report, as deceivers and yet true. Verse 9, as unknowing and yet well known, as dying and behold, we live, as chastened and not killed. Verse 10, as sorrowful and yet always rejoicing, as poor yet making many rich, as having nothing and yet possessing all things. All right? So that's how we're supposed to go through this world. All right? Sometimes you're going to have it, sometimes you're not. But it doesn't change the mission. Sometimes you're going to have a woman, sometimes you're not. But it doesn't change the mission. Sometimes you're going to have a place, sometimes you're not. Right? It doesn't change the mission. What are we here to do? Preach the gospel. All right? It says in 2 Corinthians 11, verse 7, have I committed an offense in abasing myself, that ye may be exalted? Because I have preached to you the gospel of our power freely? See, and that's what we're here to do. Preach the gospel freely unto the Israelites, which have been scattered throughout the world in slavery. This is the NLT. It says, was I wrong when I humbled myself and honored you by preaching Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai's good news to you without expecting anything in return? See, we're teaching you freely, right? You don't give nothing to us, all right? It says, I robbed other churches, taking wages of them to do you service. You see? And that's how it is even now. You got, some Jake that perhaps, listens to the videos, but they're not taking care of their teachers. All right? Which the Lord said, whatever is done unto his elect, you've done it unto him. Matthew 25, which I'm not teaching this in need. I don't really care about what you have. All right? If you're not a prophet, the reason you have money is because you're supposed to show your faith through the money by giving it to the service of the Lord. Right? Now, once again, I'm not saying this because I want your fucking filthy money. All right? I'm just telling you what is expected of you according to this faith. All right? Now, the prophets are to go out and preach without a purse. We're supposed to be taken care of. We're supposed to be fed. We're supposed to be clothed. We're supposed to be sheltered by the believers of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai, which we understand are few and rare. All right, right now in this timeline, that's why the Lord has to allow Jacob's trouble to take place, to put that fire under these Jake's ass, because the Israelites are stiff-necked, hard-headed people. And they procrastinate. But it says in Matthew 25, verse 40, and Yahushua is prophesying of himself, it says, and the king shall answer and say unto them, verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. Then shall he say also unto them on the left hand, depart from me, ye cursed. The Israelites that die with Esau in America are cursed because they were unfaithful, into everlasting fire, nuclear destruction of America, prepared for the devil and his angels. Or you could be sent over there to the valley of Jehoshaphat to die there with the armies of Esau. It says in verse 42, for I was an hungered, and ye gave me no meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me not in, naked, and ye clothed me not, sick and in prison, and ye visited me not. Night, it says, then shall they also answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee an hungered, or athirst, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister unto thee? Then shall he answer them, saying, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye did it not to one of the least of these, ye did it not to me. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, nuclear destruction, or the chariot fire over there in the valley of Jehoshaphat, but the righteous into life eternal. And when we get into that life, which is going to be in a new body, which we're going to go back to the promised land, all right, we're not going to have a need for nothing. We won't need money. We won't need nothing. Everything will be provided instantly and in abundance. All right. All right. So I went to Copilot and I put in explain the illusion of money. All right. It says 1, money as value versus money as symbol. Illusion. People often believe money itself has let me see that where I gotta put my glasses on. Intrinsic value, which they think the money itself has value in it. Reality, money is a symbol, a medium of exchange, a store of value which is losing its value, and a unit of account, which a dollar is supposed to be like a pound, right? It's supposed to be a measuring value. Its worth is based on trust and collective agreement. Example, a $100 bill is just paper. Unless society agrees it can buy $100 worth of goods. See, so there's a faith behind this money, right? In society. It says number 2, nominal and versus real value. Nominal and versus real value. Now let's go look up that nominal. Nominal of a role or status existing in name only. All right. So it says in the second part of this, it says nominal, or it says versus real value. Illusion. We focus on the face value of money, ignoring its purchasing power, which is losing. It says reality, inflation erodes real value. $100 today buys less than it did 20 years ago. It says, example, a salary increase might feel like more money, but if inflation is higher, you're actually poorer. 3, money and happiness. Illusion, more money equals more happiness. Reality, after basic needs are met, the correlation between money and happiness flattens. Experiences, relationships, and purpose often matter more. Example, studies showed that beyond $75,000 a year, additional income has diminishing returns on emotional well-being. 4, debt and credit illusions. Credit gives the illusion of wealth and freedom. Reality, it's borrowed money with future obligations. It can trap people in cycles of debt. Example, buying $1,000 item on a credit card feels easy, but with interest, you might pay $1,200 over time, and that's small. Like a house, you pay 3 times the amount. All right. That's why it's called a mortgage, because you're pretty much going to die before you pay it off. It says in 5, social status and money. Illusion, wealth equals success and respect. Reality, social value is often tied to perceived wealth, not actual financial health. Many people with flashy lifestyles are deeply in debt. Example, someone driving a luxury car might be leasing it while struggling to pay rent. Number 6, the money game. It says illusion, money is earned through hard work alone. Reality, systems, access, and capital often play bigger roles. Wealth can beget wealth through investments, inheritance, and networks. Example, the rich often get richer not by working harder, but by leveraging assets and compounding returns, which the actual rich, being the elite, the wealthy elite, they stole everything. All right. Those golden cities of the northern kingdom, all right, the wealth of the southern kingdom, they stole it. The wealth of Israel, right, the promised land, they stole it. This is why we have nothing today, is because they stole it and they enslaved us. All right. Now, it missed a part. I'm going to look it up. All right. So here it is. It says faith and money as an illusion. All right. It says the illusion of money. It says what money really is: a social construct. Money has no let me get that word. Intistic. Let's look that word up so I can say it properly.
Intrinsic.
Belonging, naturally, essential. All right. So really, in the money, there's really no value. All right. That's why when you watch these apocalyptic movies, a lot of times you'll see them in a room with money on the ground. Nobody gives a fuck about it, because you can't even wipe your ass with it. All right. Shit, in Zimbabwe, there was a time of inflation when it took a wheelbarrow of money to buy small items, like a gallon of milk, a loaf of bread. And America is going to suffer the worst hyperinflation in history. All right. It tells you that pretty much a whole day of labor will only buy a loaf of bread. All right. And that's going to be the low level, cheap brand. All right. It says intrinsic value. Money has no intrinsic value. In that money, it really, if once they lose the faith and the value of it, which is going to happen soon, money's going to be bullshit. It's going to be blown in the wind. And you got Jake that die over it, kill for it, all right? Sell their bitches pussy for it, and it really has no value whatsoever. It says a $100 bill is just paper unless people agree it represents value. A system of trust. Its power lies in collective belief. See, so the love of money is the root of all evil. All right? And they love it because they believe there's true value in it, or power, and really it's nothing but a piece of paper with dead presidents on it. Its power lies in collective belief. We trust that others will accept it in exchange for goods and services, which we've been prophesying as it is written in the Holy Scriptures. They're going to get rid of the dollar and go do a digital currency using that implantable microchip, the mark of the beast. It says backed by nothing physical since the gold standard was abandoned, most currencies are fiat, meaning they're backed by government decree, not tangible assets like gold, all right, or silver. So really, money's really in 2025, the US dollar is trash. Literally. Once again, you can't plant it and grow, vegetables with it. You can't eat it. You can't even wipe your ass with it. All right? So it's really worthless. It says why it's called an illusion. Value is imagined. A digital number in your bank account can buy a car, but it's just data. The car has real utility. The number does not. Inflation and collapse. When trust erodes, e.g., hyperinflation in Zimbabwe or Venezuela, money becomes worthless overnight. And there's actually images where the streets have money in them and nobody gives a fuck because that money has no power in it. Because nobody believes in the value of it overnight. It says, and that's what's going to happen in America. There's going to be a day where the money of America is worthless overnight. It says digital abstraction. Most money today isn't even physical. It's code in a database. We trade illusions for real labor, time, and resources. See, so it's a Wizard of Oz bullshit, right? You're really sacrificing your health, your life, your time, your family, everything for an illusion, right? For this money that will never pay enough for you to live, will never pay enough for you to save, will never pay enough for you to say, to take your family on a vacation, right? To where you can really live. It's all an illusion, all right? I know people making $30 an hour and they still can't live because the inflation. I know people making $50 an hour. And if they have family, a wife and kids, they're suffering because it's all an illusion. There's real no value in that money. All right? The true value in this world is in the gospel. All right. The illusion of faith, it says what faith represents, belief without evidence. Faith often means trusting in something unseen or unprovable, which it says God, destiny, karma, etc. Which faith in the Lord, all right, there's much value in it. Look back to what the Lord has allowed us to overcome. All right. Now, the money, all right, that's an illusion, all right? That's a belief system that's going to fail. But the Lord, all right, it's all about the power. In fact, let's get that. Because I believe we got enough of this. Now, let's go to the scriptures where Apostle Paul, I believe it is, he said that our power is power. Oh. Let's see. It's in the New Testament. See, First Corinthians 4, verse 20. For the kingdom of our power, Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai, is not in word, but in power. All right? What will ye? Shall I come unto you with a rod, or in love and in the spirit of meekness? Which he was talking to the Israelites in Corinth. All right? Talking about living by the power of the Lord. Which, let me cross-reference this. And it says in 1 Corinthians 2, verse 4, And my speech and my preaching was not with enticing words of man's wisdom, how to get money, how to get women, how to get a place, how to buy and sell houses, how to start a business, but in demonstration of the Spirit and of power. Let's see. It says that your faith should not stand in the wisdom of men, like in the worthless dollar, right? It says, but in the power of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. See? So that's what we're focused on. What Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai could do for us and what we could do for him. All right? We're not worried about money. Now, you may start to worry because you're a man in this world, but this is why we make these videos. This is why we got the scriptures. This is why we got the gospel, the good news, that Yahweh will send his son Yahweh Shai to save us. And this is what we hope for. This is where our hope is in. I do not hope to get rich. I do not hope for anything. I hope for salvation in Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. Shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel, wa abab abal.